Good evening and welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, February 19th, 2013. We'll begin tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Randy Miller and an invocation by Mr. Rodney Wyckoff of the Nazarene Church.
Please join me as we salute our American flag. Hand over your heart. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this evening, and as we gather tonight, I pray that you would be with this council meeting. I pray for the council members as you guide and direct them in decision making. I pray for the businesses of our community that you would bring prosperity to them, and all of the ventures that are before us, the planning, the vision for our city, we place in your care, and we look forward to this great year as you lead each and every one through the processes that will bring about good days for Taft. We thank you for all those things. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Okay.
Okay.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Linder.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Waldrop.
Here.
And Councilmember Noor, absent.
First item on the agenda is citizens' request for public comments. I only saw one on the list, I believe, and it was Kathy Oren, Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Oren. I'm Executive Director of the Taft District Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. I reside at 513 Hilltop Court. I want to first thank all of the folks that joined with us during our installation and awards banquet last February 7th. It was very successful. We had 170 people in attendance. Wow. And that's big for us, and we're very proud. It was wonderful. Our guest speaker was David Couch, who is our supervisor and county supervisor, and I think it was interesting that his remarks included an understanding, let us know that he understands how important health care and what a concern health care to the west side is, and that was a big deal coming from a county supervisor, so I applaud him for acknowledging that. Last Friday, some of us, joined by our city manager, Craig Jones, went on a tour of Taft. This was under the auspices of the Greater Taft Economic Development Authority. It was very interesting. We concentrated on the entrances to our city, although we were a little distracted by some of the other places that we went. I'm in the process of preparing a report that just underscores the addresses that we're most concerned about, the areas of our city that, it's not just our city, but also the county areas of our community that require some attention. Some of that some places just frankly need to be torn down. Some of them are already posted and ready to be torn down and just haven't been torn down. I'm of the mind, and I'm sure other folks are, that we just need to keep pressure on those who have said they're going to do certain things, that they will in fact do those things. So it was an eye-opener. I didn't realize how some places in our community make it very difficult for kids to even walk to school. When you have a student that has to walk out into the street to get around rubble that's in a street, is blocking his or her way. Now forget the fact that there are no sidewalks, curbs and gutters, but just to get to school have to put up with a lot. Some kids walk by 5 burned out houses to get to school. These are all things that we as the citizens of our community don't need to put up with. So we're starting to apply pressure, and You will be seeing those pictures and that report in the coming days, but it's a foremost concern. The Chamber of Commerce feels very strongly that there are things that we can do to our community to make it a better community that don't involve huge industry coming in. These are things that just make us proud of our community. So that's one of the things we'll be focusing on this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. It's always a pleasure. Next item on the agenda is council statements, non-action. Mr. Cryer?
Well, got a lot of things coming up. I believe this coming Thursday, isn't it, for the museum annual
Thursday or Saturday?
It was Saturday. Can't remember what day it is.
Saturday.
Saturday. Hope everybody got their tickets and go. If not, they need to call the museum to get their tickets. It's a worthy organization to support. On the 28th of this month, there'll be a meeting for our community to partake in concerning our health care for TAF, for the hospital, coordinate together and meet and discuss all the happenings with get information on our urgent care with our West Side Hospital District. They were talking with, say, the state we're at on that, and need all the input from the public. Other than that, understand that we lost power here in Taft. I was one of the few. I was affected at my home, but a lot of businesses understand that the theater was closed and all that, and PG&E wants them move out of their maintenance office out of Taft. And if they would have done that, it could have been a few hours, a lot longer, being out of power, and it cost us as far as our business, suffer, and also our enjoyment at home, watching TV or cooking or being with the family. It can be a spooky situation at times, and so it's really important that we convince PG&E they need to stay here because we need that service here, and we're being so far away. But other than that, that's about all I have to say. I'm kind of prepared.
Well, thank you. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to also commend Supervisor Couch and his staff. They've been, once he got sworn in, they've been very aggressive in this area, especially concerning the code enforcement compliance. And I know that they have condemned some homes, and they're in the process of tearing them down. And, those are the kinds of things that the city of Taft has been doing. So to get the county to go in and spend the dollars to do that is really remarkable. So I'm very, very happy with what progress we've made in a month and a half. So it's really, really something. In regards to PG&E, yes, they want to close down and move their equipment. They're not going to want to close this office, but they're going to move all their maintenance folks and equipment over to Bakersfield or somewhere. And I happen to be able to talk to an employee that worked there who will remain anonymous, but it's one person, grand idea to save PG&E's money to do that. So it's somebody that's trying to climb up the ladder, and they're going to do it on the backs of the West Side. And it really, really doesn't make sense for them to do that. They have employees that live over here, they have the equipment here, and we should have equipment stationed on the West Side. If there was a major disaster, roadways closed or whatever, what's going to happen? All that equipment will be trapped over there, and we'll have nothing here. So I know that we signed a letter, the mayor signed a letter in that regard, didn't you? Or didn't we have something on last?
We're still being prepared.
Okay.
But yes.
Well, I would strongly suggest we get that out as quickly as possible. Also, Mr. Knorr's not here, and he was taking my thunder there for a while, but weeds are starting to grow. We've had some nice weather, and it didn't take long for them to sprout up. So we don't have a city prisoners' crews to go out into the city and help with that regard. So it's going to be incumbent upon our citizens of the city of Taft to do your share of start getting the weeds out of the way while they're wet and easy to remove. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Waldron.
I would like to thank Supervisor Couch for what he's doing myself. I'm sorry I couldn't make the meeting, but so far, he's a man of his word. I told him we were going to hold him to it, and he was going to be more involved on the west side. So my hat's off to him, and I appreciate all the emails I get. Thank you, Mayor.
Certainly. Mr. Cryer, you have an additional item?
Yeah, I'm going to say that Mr. Couch has done an awfully good job, and he will be here in Bakersfield tomorrow. He'll be at the Sit and Sip. He'll be here before that, meeting with one of the constituents in Maricopa. He will be at Sit and Sip, and then possibly at Rotary. So
Good.
We'll be here all day, spend a lot of time here in Taft tomorrow.
Very good. Excellent. I just wanted to comment that, well, I'm going to go, let me back up. Shameless advertising, I'll preface that right now. That yesterday was the first of 4 different days throughout the year that the citizens of Taft will notice that Center Street and other local businesses are decorated with flags. And that's in part done by the Kiwanis Club of Taft, who is sponsoring the flags, or the program, I should say, and the local businessmen that are sponsoring those flags. It's very refreshing once we get them all up to drive around and see, you know, up to 45 flags being gracefully shown throughout the city, and it's really a nice view. And I wanted to just go on public record as thanking those establishments that are supporting our project, because I think it's a win-win. We do garner some money for that, but that money goes right back into the community through scholarships and Alpha House and all the other programs that we support through Kiwanis, but we're also showing our patriotism. And I did notice there's room for a lot more flags, and Kiwanis is up to the challenge. So anybody out there wishing to have a flag displayed in front of their business, and we haven't ruled out residences either for that matter, but we would provide the flag, the installation of the city-approved flag holder, and for a nominal fee of $50 a year. You could also be patriotic and fly a flag in front of your home, or your business. So give us a call. Getting back to Mr. Couch and his presence on the west side is appreciated, but I also noticed that in the last couple of weeks we've had 2 major fires in the county areas of our community. And it's a little alarming to me that we don't normally see fires that often here, but we've had 2, and I don't know the reasons for the fires or anything, but I can only guess that it has something to do with outdated wiring, or improper heaters or something out there, and it just fuels the need to get people out of substandard living in some cases, and code enforcement needs to do what they need to do in order to prevent fires, and fortunately we haven't had a loss of life or an injury, but I think it's extremely important that the county focus on that, as well as the city. We don't seem to have as big a problem, but I think there's a huge concern in the outlying areas of Taft. And I just wanted to preface Mr. Miller's comment that we are in the process of getting a letter to PG&E's. We've been trying to determine exactly who it needs to go to, and it may go to many people, I don't know, but our goal would be to convince PG&E that they need to keep their service within the city limits of Taft, where it belongs. And it's not just for Taft, but it's for the county areas, it's for the oil companies. They all deserve to have a quicker response than having crews have to drive to Bakersfield or come out of Bakersfield to respond to an incident out here. And as Mr. Miller said, that in the event of a natural disaster where maybe roads are impassable, we would really be on our own out here, even worse. And appreciate you reminding the folks, and we'll get that letter out right away. So, moving on, we'll go to the Planning Commissioner report. Do we have a Planning Commissioner? We do. Mr. Oren is here. Thank you.
At our last meeting, we, as a group, decided that we would hold our meetings every month regardless of whether there are agenda items, so that we could address issues that may arise from the community or discuss things with Mike Weegis. And the last meeting, I was seated as a commissioner. We are having ongoing training that will be provided by Mike. So for the planning process and implementing the city's plan that has been adopted. We had a discussion about Popeyes, and they came in and saw us and spoke about their color scheme and items they are going to do architecturally on the building. And it seems that we have a good understanding and a meeting of the minds with them. We have referred Mike to speak with the attorney regarding his opinion regarding a property on Center Street that is commercially zoned but being used as a residence. And our concern is that we adhere to the general plan and that we don't have people that are out of compliance. So we're getting an opinion there, and we will act as we should, implementing his direction as it relates to the general plan. And we have adopted, it's Rosenberry's law, rules of order. And we've changed our meeting times to 6 p.m. so we're more similar to you folks. And we have ethics training that we are being provided. I guess we will co-venture with you in that. And we have asked Mike to provide us a time when we, jointly the commission and the council, can get together to discuss what it is that needs to be done in our best interest.
Very good.
Okay? Thank you.
Sounds like you had a good meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. It was a productive meeting. I think that we opened some new territory, and with respect to adhering to what it says.
Very good.
Thank you.
Hey, city manager statements. Mr. Jones. Did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry, I did. I was making notes on the wrong line. Do we have any department reports tonight?
Hello, Deborah Elliott, the City of Taft Enterprise Zone Department. I'd like to start by just sharing that 2013 has been a good start from the Enterprise Zone. We have 5 new businesses that have begun participating, and that includes 10 employees that have been vouchered, so that's moving along nicely. Yeah. That's just since January, so it's a good start. We're also trying to put together a seminar that will be called maybe Bring Your CPA to Breakfast. And we're trying to get the businesses to bring their own CPAs in to meet with us and try to bring together all entities of joining the Enterprise Zone, and to try to show them that if we all work together, it's pretty easy to participate. So we're working on that.
Good idea.
Also, we are working with Career Services Center. We're going to participate in their upcoming job fair. That'll be in April sometime. They've offered us a booth, so we will staff the booth and have some sort of a questionnaire to kind of help qualify, find out if an employee or if a job seeker qualifies as an Enterprise Zone participant.
Where will that be held at?
I believe it's going to be at the Veterans Building.
Oh, they're going to have it here in Taft?
Yes, here in Taft.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Haven't done that for a number of years.
Very good.
Yes, we're excited about that. And then also, in accordance with the MOU with the state, we are also working on our 2 to 5 year plan for the job opportunity program and also marketing program. So that's quite a process, but we're working on that as well. So.
Very good.
And then the last thing is there are quite a few proposed regulations coming down from the state regarding the program. So I've been participating in about every week to 10 days. They have another webinar and further information. So there's an item on the agenda tonight just regarding a support letter. that's all I have tonight.
Very good. Any questions, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah, appreciate it. Any other department reports? Okay, now we will move on to city manager statements.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'll start out with our trip to LA today with the LA County Supervisors Board meeting. Supervisor Antonovich held the item on the agenda for his a few words that he spoke about it, and it appears to us that they are wanting a feasibility plan for the reuse of the Mariloma facility with accurate numbers so they can make a decision to go elsewhere for contracting for bed space with CCFs or try to revamp the facility. Our feeling is the number that they were given to revamp the Mariloma facility to hold the state inmates was very low. The staff that put that together, I believe, is no longer there. They've since retired. There's new staff working on this jail plan, so we're hopeful that it'll be brought back soon for discussion, and hopefully they'll vote yes on it because we believe that we can save them a bunch of money. Even if they had the Mariloma facility up and running, we still believe we could do it cheaper. Another item, City of Taft, we just met with our group, HDL, that does our sales tax projections. We have our quarter 3 2012 report, which is July through September 2012. The receipts were 6.4% higher than the same quarter 1 year ago, but with some anomalies removed, sales were slightly down 3.6%, which mainly was due to, it looks like, building construction and automotive and transportation. Fuel and service stations were up from 140 to about 170,000. Consumer goods was flat. Restaurants and hotels was up about $5,000. So the outlook that they have moving forward for quarter 4 is they believe that the trend will continue slightly upwards. We have a few new businesses opening up that should help things out on the sales tax. Hertz Rental is a new company that opened up on Black Gold Court, just off of Gas Company Road. They will be running a rental yard similar to the one over, I believe, on is it Snow Road? Yeah, over in Bakersfield. It's a large yard, and they should carry everything from huge oil field equipment down to homeowner tools that you can rent to use in your yard. Another business that has opened up on Kern Street is Milo's Gas and Welding Supply, which they do a lot of sales and service to the oil industry, so we're glad to have them. And a lot of other businesses that's opened up in the last 3 or 4 months. Those are just to name a few. And then last but not least, Alpha House will be their annual chili cook-off. This chili dinner. Thursday,
there'll be one winner.
February 21st. Yeah, one winner. 5 to 7 p.m. That's at Alpha House.
Very good.
That's tomorrow night.
Actually, it's at,
Oh, it's not at Alpha? Oh, that's right. It's at the church. Across the street at the church.
At the reception hall there, isn't it?
yeah.
21st.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's all I
I'm
have.
a week ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, appreciate it. City attorney statements.
Mr. Mayor.
Good to see you tonight. All right, item number 7 is future agenda requests. Did you have something about the Second Amendment?
No, we'll
Okay.
get through that.
And the third.
Mr. Norris said he's on top of that.
Okay, very good.
Two requests.
There was a, Siskiyou County had made a resolution in regards to the Second Amendment, and I got a copy of that and forwarded it on to Mr. Knorr. So he's gotten all excited. So I think we might be seeing something in a couple of weeks.
Very good.
I have 2 requests. One has been talk about the TOT tax, and There's been a study, I guess, from Bakersfield, from a tourism, and they're saying that based on occupancy, and it seems like the motels seem to be always full all the time, they only receive like maybe 25 to 30% of our TOT. I was wondering if we can do check it out and do a trust but verify type deal with our motels, making sure we are indeed getting our fair share of it, because that's money that comes to the city for the people to do services and all that. So I like to
Do an audit, you're
do
saying?
an audit,
Yeah.
on, check it
I
out.
would certainly concur with that.
Would that be a third-party audit?
Well, yeah, that was going to be my question, and we must have been writing the same notes. I think we need to look into an audit, but I didn't know if HDL
I talked to Trace about it, and there's some third-party auditing firms. We could go in and do an initial audit with staff.
So that'd be a fairly low cost. I mean, just,
Yeah, and if we find any anomalies, then we would have to, but
yeah.
it's, it might be better to start with a third party, because it's been so long since anything's been reconciled or checked.
Well, I think if I may, what Mr. Cryer is asking is for an agenda item to perhaps, whether it's information or to bring to us a cost, so that we can look at that. I mean, obviously, we don't want to spend $50,000 to
No.
collect 5, but
I think they do it for actually a
for a percentage, isn't it?
percentage
Yeah.
of what they find that's, yeah.
Maybe the police department could look at the books and see if there are, how many people are on the books, as far as how full the motels have been.
The finance department.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
Then the second question I have like to pursue is Charter City, to start that going. And it'd be a great benefit for Taft. And you have 2 years to get everything going. So the people so choose, you have an election in 2 years.
I'd be in concurrence with that, Mr. Cryer.
And that's all I have.
So you're looking at the benefits of and
Yeah, good, a lot of good benefits, and
Kind
maybe
of
pursue it, and maybe...
pros and cons type thing, maybe?
Yeah, and I know we got a lot of support from the building trade organization would be willing to help out, and a lot of good benefits and cost savings and more control over our destiny.
Very good. Mr. Waldron?
I have none.
I don't know if this qualifies for an agenda request, but maybe more just information. But some of the information that we've been talking about in our newly formed economic development master plan is about land use and what penalties or what bite is in the bark as far as land use. And that, what I mean by that is if there's a commercial property that's in a commercial area that's a retail storefront, that's pretty cut and dry. But when a landowner chooses to cover up the front windows and build partitions inside and then rent that same piece of property out to 2 or 3 individuals, it's no longer meeting that land use. And I think what I would like is maybe the city attorney or city staff to research what is the city's position on that, and how can we make it less attractive for a property owner to violate our land uses. And what I mean by that is if we had to go up there and evict people who are living there, most likely the city may have to provide lodging for them for a short time to where they could find something else. But if we could find a way to impose that upon the landowner who is violating
Like a penalty?
a penalty, and maybe it can be clearly spelled out.
Admin fine?
Admin fine, yeah. How, you guys have probably got the better verbiage for it, but I'd be curious to see if any of our codes address that, and if not, if it's feasible for us to bring it to the council and create a policy or an ordinance, or enhance the ordinance, or whatever it would take. I just think that, what we need to do is discourage the violation of our land uses
For the property owners?
by the property owners, and most of those are absentee. I will admit, a lot of those are absentee owners, but they still have to know that you can't just go in there and put up some partitions and put some electrical in, no inspections, no building permits, or anything like that, move people in, and then what happens to them? We tell them you can't do that. Well, I think we need more than a slap on the hand. I think we need to hit them in the pocketbook and either make them go through the process to change what they're doing and get approval to do what they're doing, or to stop it altogether. And I think it bodes for the people that are having to maybe occupy some of these less than healthy places. At least we would know that they are, if we know about it, we would know that they're at least meet a standard for the people to live in. So anyway, that's just a thought. I don't know how you want to bring that back to us, but I'd be curious to see what we can find. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar, items 8 through 19. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of any of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. And we are talking about item number 8, minutes of the February 5th meeting. Item number 9, payment of bills. Item number 10 is a ratification of contract for website design, hosting, and maintenance services. 11, ratification of contract for information technology or IT support services. Item number 12, unemployment compensation, EDD payouts. Item number 13, resolution supporting California enterprise zones. 14, agreement with the HP Sears account recovery specialist for collection of services for the Taft Police Department. 16, agreement with the McFarland and Anderson LLP for bond counsel. 16 is a proposal from NBS to extend the contract to provide assistance for Prop 218 sewer and refuse rates increases. Item number 17 is a proposition, is about Proposition 218, an increase of rates and refuse and sewer service fees and charges. Item number 18, agreement with NBS for assessment increase for landscape and lighting district and formation of landscape and lighting district number 2. And finally, item number 19 is the filming of a movie, Wolf of Wall Street, which will be filming at the Taft Correctional Facility. Gentlemen, do any of you wish anything to be removed?
No. I'd like to remove item number 14, please.
Item number 14. Mr. Cryer, anything?
18 and 19.
Okay, very good. Mr. Waldron, you?
I have none.
Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar consisting of items 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, and 17.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Waltrip?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes. All right. We will go back to item number 14, agreement with HPS Sears account recovery specialist for collection services for the Taft Police Department. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The Taft Police Department had an agreement with HP Sears account recovery specialist to collect unpaid invoices for police department services at a 40% commission rate. The police department was able to renegotiate a new contract with a lower commission rate to be comparable with the collection agency the city administration uses. Commission rate for collections is 30% for invoicing items and 35% for all claims that are in fact a judgment or regarding litigation. For all items sent to collections, HP Sears will add 10% interest to accounts when allowed by state, and HP Sears will retain all interest funds collected. The terms of this agreement will begin January 30th, 2013, and will remain in effect until either party, upon delivery of a written 30-day notice cancellation.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute account recovery agreement with HP Sears account recovery specialist for collection services. We just need a motion and a second so we can discuss it, gentlemen.
Make the motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. Mr. Miller, you'd asked this to be pulled. I'll just go out of order a little bit. So.
Well, I have two questions. One, in the narrative that was presented by staff, it says that there's a 30-day out, but I read through the contract and I didn't see where we had a 30-day out in it. I kind of read it over a couple of times, so it could be pointed out to me. And secondly, I don't, and I haven't had a chance to, I don't mean to put the chief on the spot here, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it. But doesn't the city have a collection agency, and why do we have two? I mean, don't we have a contract with Mr. Jones, don't we? Do we have a contract with a separate collection agency?
Yeah, the City Hall uses a different collection.
So why do we need two collection agencies? Maybe the chief can answer it, or?
Is it specialized?
No, it's not specialized. I believe the police department liked the service they were getting from HP. But it was less of a commission rate. Teresa told them that, so they matched the deal, I guess. Kind of who they've been using for years, I guess they're comfortable with.
And the kinds of things that the police department.
Chief, can you explain the types of things the police department would charge for that people don't pay?
Yes, we have DUI cost recovery that we deal with, parking tickets. If someone were to write us a check for, say, a CCW permit, turns out to be a hot check, then we'll have to collect on that. And all those things that we would come across that we collect for. It could be for a police report, it could be whoever stiffs us, so to speak.
Has this been an ongoing relationship for a long time for the police department?
Yes, we've had this for a long time. We're just able to renegotiate it down to 30%. And to answer your question, I don't know why we're using two separate ones. I don't know.
I don't either, so.
The 30-day clause at the beginning. Yeah, I was going to admit.
Is it the beginning?
30-day.
I was looking at it.
I always go to the end, yeah.
Our attorney found that.
Sorry.
I looked over it too. So I guess it's just a preference the police department's had by working with the same people for a lot of years.
Do you try to collect first? We go to HPCers? Do you make a...
Yes, we send out mailings to the people telling them if they don't pay, that they will be sent to collections. They know this ahead of time. We make sure we send it to them as certified mail. That's part of our collection process before we ever turn it over to HP. Yes.
No way you can threaten 10-day in jail or something if they don't pay a hot check or something?
We wish. We know we get paid a lot faster.
Well, I would.
30%.
Well, I hope there's not a lot of hot checks.
Even though we have two different agencies collecting for us, so I don't see where really there would be any cost savings. The contracts apparently they're the same. It's just, and if you're comfortable, Chief, with this group that you're contracting with and have been contracting with, I don't see where to interrupt it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. My administrative assistant does all the work on it, and she's been using it prior to me being there, and her assistant before her, and her assistant before her. We've had it for a long time, since we started doing DUI cost recoveries back in the 90s. So it's been a long-standing.
They do pretty good for you, collection?
You know, I don't know what the numbers are for that. I mean, how well they're doing. I imagine it's like any other collection agency. It's when they decide to refi their house or get a car loan and their credit gets checked and they say, oh, look, I've got a $35 parking ticket to pay in Taft, I better clear it up. You know, I don't know how effective it is any collection agency, to be honest with you, but I know that it does. Probably our finance director could tell you what we receive in income from that. She would have a better number for us.
Yeah.
Just my thought.
It's better to get something
We write it off as
than
bad debt
nothing.
each year, and I don't think we see a lot of revenue in the bad debt line.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Okay, thanks.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Waller, did you have any other comments?
No, I don't, thank you.
Mr. Cryer? Okay. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute account recovery
No,
agreement.
you already have the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. May we have a roll call?
I don't want to tell you what to do,
No.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Point it out.
He's getting you.
He's getting me there.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. Moving on to item 18, agreement with NBS for assessment increase for landscape and lighting district and formation of landscape and lighting district number 2. Mr. Jones.
In the process of completing all rate evaluations for services including the landscape and lighting district, the city is required to complete a Proposition 218 assessment of the district. City also has 25 new parcels that need to be added to District Number 1, or the city will need to create a new District Number 2. During the Proposition 218 assessment, it will determine which will be the best action to take on these new parcels.
Thank you. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement with NBS for Proposition 218 assessment services for landscape maintenance district or districts.
Motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Cryer, I believe this was yours.
Yes, it is, thank you. I have a question, is how much are we collecting already from the state, from the first one, approximately?
Well, there's only one right now, and I believe it's, what, $80?
$89 a year.
It's about
Times
8,500.
how many parcels?
What's that?
Times how
I
many?
know in my area it's 100 parcels, but there's
Yeah,
also...
That's the only one.
Yeah.
That's the
$89.
creation of the new one will take the ones in Pilgrim Street and the ones on Amber Street.
Right.
That's the 25,
That's about
125.
8,000,
No, 125 parcels.
125. I know it's 14,000 for each one to change the rate for each, what, consulting fees, 14,000, and then for parcel number 2, now 14,500. You're looking at $28,500 roughly. Do a study on it to see how much to increase it. Does it justify cost as far as the first one to?
Yes, I can speak to that. The Prop 218 process is somewhat complicated and necessary. Because you're creating a new district, there has to be a benefit analysis, and that is a very complicated set of, it's like an actuarial study. And this is a one-time thing. Once you get this done, then you won't have to have these costs again. So you do repay it over a period of time, but the costs are necessary. Because the downside of not doing it correctly is somebody can challenge it, and the whole thing goes out.
About the new construction over there, the developers, does that include that too, or that'd be a separate one, they put that in? Or they go vote again for that 14,000?
Yeah.
For parcel 3?
We can't create one until there's parcels, but that would be, we could include, there could be a landscape lighting district 1, which we can include, we can absorb the 25, or we'll create 1 and 2 and a 3, or we could include them all into one. And that's what the consultant's going to evaluate. If you look at the list of things that they're going to have to perform to get this done, one of them is a engineering report, and they'll review all that, and they'll give city staff direction on which way is the best way to go. And if you look on the cost proposal, staff has indicated that we want to get this done, of course, cheaply as possible. We don't want to cut no corners, because if you make one mistake, you can lose this through a protest hearing, because if you didn't do something legally correct. And that's also with the other rates that we're looking at doing an increase on. The city went through a formal RFP process quite a time ago, about what, a year? Maybe not a year ago.
About a year, yeah.
But it included MBS, but at the time, the council chose to let them move forward on certain items, and that was excluding the lighting landscape district. And it's been discussed for many years that the city is expending more money than $89 a year per parcel to take care of these, so we're just trying to recover our costs.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller?
I have no question.
Mr. Walton?
None.
The benefit would be to have just one landscape maintenance district, right? I mean, is that going to be one of the recommendations, that they all go into one so that we...
Well, that's what they're going to do, a feasibility to see if they can, or if it's the best option.
I'm just thinking for future, for paperwork.
We're hoping that that's the best option.
Okay.
Is this covering the one up on Oak Street?
The Amber Street homes?
Yeah.
Amber Street.
And Pilgrim.
Yeah, because that's never been included yet, has it?
We've been taking care of that for free.
And I also noticed that in their proposal that they continually note this as a landscape maintenance district, where we call it a landscape lighting district. Are we going to have to be careful about how we, I mean, currently if it's a landscape lighting district and we try to change it to a landscape maintenance, is that just cutting
A lighting
their...
district and a landscape maintenance district are very different things. So
Okay.
we do have to be careful about how we characterize this, because the benefit analysis is going to be totally different.
Right. So basically, I only call that to the attention so that we don't develop a landscape maintenance district when we really wanted a landscape lighting district, or vice versa, just maybe splitting hairs, but it does make sense if we can include everything into one instead of having 3 or 15 landscape maintenance districts. It'd just be a lot easier on staff and everybody to maintain and to, make sure that gets built out, so.
And having one larger district would make the whole protest procedure easier, too.
That's true. And I'm assuming that cost will be across the board. It's not going to be like different sewer rates for city and county. I'm assuming that everybody
That's what
that's in...
they'll evaluate
Yeah.
on either lighting lines, or including them all into one, or splitting them if they're so different that we're providing possibly way more service at one, then it wouldn't make sense to charge everyone across the board.
Correct.
I guess that's their kind of...
And Mr. Cryer's comment is if we added 200 more homes into the district, in fact, we could see a decrease in the cost per parcel. I mean, I doubt it, but
Well, we discussed that with the developers. It was trying to include that portion of Rails to Trails into the lighting landscape district, not preventing the public from using it, but clearly the housing tract will have a benefit from having the trail in the direct vicinity. And for the houses facing the trail, we've talked to them about including that into a lighting landscape.
Very good. Very good. I think that's good
We gotta
forward
find,
thinking.
we gotta start thinking about ways to pay for all these trails extensions that we have money for, because we can get grant money all day long, but the ongoing operating cost, it's more grass, more trees, more water, more electricity.
Sure. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. No other comments? May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Walter?
Yes.
Councilmember Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Linder?
Yes, thank you. And item number 19, movie Wolf of Wall Street filming at Taft Correctional Facility. Mr. Jones.
New Deal Studios Incorporated will be filming 2 short scenes on the exterior of the Community Correctional Facility on February 27, 2013. The company has secured all appropriate permits and licenses and has paid applicable fees and deposits for staff. Monday, during the holiday, the chief of police met with these folks, so if you guys have any particular questions of what they're going to be doing, he can answer those questions for you.
Mr. Cryer, I believe you requested this to be
Yes,
pulled.
I did. I'm sure the public's kind of curious what's going to happen here and what famous actors are going to be around, and if we have
The chief-
we have some autographs.
The chief said something about him and Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be playing tennis on the regular.
You can have a bit part in this, seriously.
I don't have a SAG card, so no.
Handball, and their prison jumpsuits.
They're talking about, they're fully intending to shoot some exterior scenes with a remote control helicopter and a boom truck. And then after that, most of the other scenes have already been shot using the primary actors. They will have some out at the facility on the day that they're going to shoot. They're looking for Thursday of next week. And again, that's weather related because of the use of a remote control helicopter to get some of the aerial shots. Make sure that there's hardly any wind out there.
Do they have some need for some criminal types? Because the council's available probably.
I believe they're going to bring the necessary people for that, and they were talking about trying to get Mr. DiCaprio to come up and actually play a little bit of tennis, but I don't know if that'll happen. They can always do that on CG, I'm told, with a green screen, so we'll see how that works out. But we're prepared to assist them in whatever manner it takes.
Chief, we also had some movie folks here for about 2 weeks, and then had a commercial for a Dodge Viper, I think, or something here last week. How did those go for staff and police department?
I can tell you that right after the chamber installation dinner, I went down to the Oasis Bar where they were having their final party night to celebrate their rap party, yeah. If the, what does Cinna say? Is he the director or producer? Huh? Cinna? He's a producer. If hugging me while he's crying big crocodile tears is any indication of how happy he is, I guess he's pretty happy.
Or how much he had to drink.
He hadn't started drinking yet. So he seemed pretty happy, and as far as I know, everything has gone pretty well. The producer for this, Wolf of Wall Street, when he found out that our prison is empty right now, said, well, look, I'm going to have to go back and tell everybody in the office because we've got some other movies that need prison scenes shot right away. And I said, well, then you better hurry. So we'll see if that produces any further film production here in Taft.
Oh, some income at least to keep everything going out there.
Keep the lights on anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a
So-
good job. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. And gentlemen, anything else on that one? That was an information-only item. And so we are not going to have a closed session tonight, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hi.
We are adjourned. Thank you for coming.